Many enterprise architecture initiatives start with a fatal flaw, often getting completely bogged down in the pursuit of a perfect blueprint. When architects function as a documentation factory, they spend their time mapping endless technical minutiae rather than guiding the business. The reality is that a flawless, static architecture does not exist. The actual goal of architectural planning is far more practical. It is about achieving absolute clarity on trade-offs. Enterprise architecture is a decision-making function. Its value comes from forcing difficult choices in the present, not archiving the history of your IT systems. To force those choices, architecture has to operate as a living, dynamic framework. Instead of treating it as a one-off project with an end date, we have to structure it as a continuous, repeatable loop. This loop takes high-level boardroom constraints and systematically passes them through a fixed process until they emerge as executable engineering tasks. By locking into this cycle, you guarantee that technical reality strictly mirrors business priorities at every stage of development. Successfully translating strategy into execution relies on passing those constraints through exactly 5 distinct sequential phases. This continuous loop provides a reliable operating model that empowers engineering teams to turn abstract executive goals into governed, measurable reality. Phase 1 is organizational strategy. Effective architecture begins by reading raw business inputs rather than immediately drawing software system diagrams. This node absorbs everything driving the business: strategic goals, OKRs, market pressures, and regulatory drivers. Crucially, it accounts for risk posture, setting the speed limit for how fast the company moves. Processing these inputs forces leadership to define a clear optimization target. They must choose the priority: driving down costs, maximizing system reliability, or ensuring strict compliance. Once that priority is set, the process moves to Phase 2, mapping strategy. Here, the target is translated directly into a map of the organization's business capabilities. Architects evaluate this map using 3 filters: which capabilities are currently weak, which differentiate the business, and which can be standardized. This evaluation produces capability maps and value streams. But these artifacts are merely the supporting exhaust produced by the workflow, not the end goal itself. By mapping strategy this way, engineering teams are prevented from wasting time and capital over-engineering standard systems that do not offer a competitive advantage. With capabilities prioritized, Phase 3 defines the target architecture. This is the bridge connecting those capabilities directly to technical reality. The core action is straightforward: establish the current as-is state and define the target state across all 4 architecture domains: business, data, application, and technology. But there is a strict operational rule for this phase. Architects must aim for absolute clarity of decision, actively avoiding the trap of exhaustive detail. Defining the as-is and target states serves a single, highly specific objective: running a gap analysis to see exactly what needs to change. This gap analysis isolates the critical technical decisions required to bridge the distance, specifically establishing the major integration patterns and the necessary security levels. Target architecture is a tool for maintaining alignment. Any detail documented that does not directly aid in completing that gap analysis is wasted effort. Phase 4 turns that analysis into a roadmap. Moving an enterprise from its current state to its target state is never executed in a single massive leap. Instead, road mapping is the deliberate sequencing of technical changes through stable, intermediate transition states. Consider a baseline scenario where a network requires a major upgrade. The first transition state executes the raw infrastructure upgrade, increasing bandwidth. Next, quality of service protocols divide the network into prioritized lanes. Finally, the system enables high-definition video across the enterprise. Deliberate road mapping de-risks massive technical transformations by forcing them into manageable, measurable increments. The final step is Phase 5, govern and guard. This is the active execution phase, where architecture interacts daily with live engineering teams. Architectural responsibilities do not end once the roadmap is published. Maintaining the target state requires oversight. We route localized changes through an active review process, checking them against standards. This catches technical conflicts early, before production. Crucially, these guardrails are derived directly from the exact business priorities established back in Phase 1. Proper governance does not exist to slow engineers down. This new regulation enters Phase 1 as a disruptive raw input, immediately demanding a response from the organization. The input flows into Phase 2, automatically forcing a reevaluation and reprioritization of the mapped business capabilities to address compliance. Because priorities have shifted, the established transition states on the roadmap in Phase 4 must dynamically recalculate, accommodating the new regulatory reality. Finally, the governance guardrails in Phase 5 instantly update, enforcing the new regulatory standards across all active engineering tasks. A properly structured architectural operating model absorbs market shocks seamlessly. It continuously adjusts technical execution without requiring manual, top-down micromanagement. Throughout this entire process, you generate artifacts, like capability maps, target state diagrams, and reference architectures. But these documents exist strictly to support the workflow of the 5 phases. They hold zero intrinsic value sitting idle. Moving away from a static documentation factory means embracing architecture as an active discipline. By operating enterprise architecture as a repeatable decision-making loop, organizations guarantee that every line of code written, every network upgrade deployed, and every security guardrail established is a direct, calculated response to boardroom strategy.